Dear students, today we are going to discuss about how to create tables in HTML. Table means we have to arrange data values in the form of rows and columns. These specify the cells of a table. So a table provides a mean of organizing the layout of data. A table is divided into rows and columns, and these specify the cells of a table. Now we see how we can create a table in HTML. In HTML, we can create a table by using the following tags. Table tag. Table tag is the main element for creating a table in a web page. For creating a table row, we are having a tag called tr. th is an HTML tag which specifies the table header. td is another tag which is used for mentioning table data. You can see an example there. A table is created, whereas a table tag is opened with attribute border is equal to 1. This means the web page is containing a table with border 1. Then tr tag is open. Tr tag here mentions that a table row is initiated. th name / th. So th here specifies the first cell data and it is a header value. So that is why it is mentioned in th. So inside the table header, we are having that the first cell of the table is a table header which contains the value name. Then td. td mentions the second cell which contains a value AB Morgan. Again td is there which mentions the third cell in the first row, which contains the value DP Jones, and that corresponding cell is closed and the row is closed. So after the first row, we have to start the second row. So again we have to open tr tag which indicates that another row is created. Again we use th tag. Th tag means the first cell in the second row is also contain a header value. The header data is course. Then after that, the second cell is started with td which contains a value fishing. Then third cell is opened with the value sailing. Then after that row is closed. Second row is closed by /tr. Then again tr is opened for the third row. Here also the first cell in the third row is a header value which is mentioned by the th tag which specifies the value years. Then after that the second cell of the third row is started with td tag which contains value age, and third cell which contains value 5, and the table row is closed. tr is closed as well as table is closed. So for this the output should be look like this. So the first column indicates all the header values. For first row we can see name as a header value. Then second row course is the header value, and third row here is the header value. Rows and columns can be spanned. That means we can merge multiple rows, we can merge multiple columns, and this functionality can be done using call span attribute and row span attribute. Call span attribute is used for merging 2 or more columns, and row span attribute is used for merging 2 or more rows. So you can see the example here. Here table border is equal to 1. So a table is initiated with border value 1. tr indicates a table row. Then th call span is equal to 2 name. So in the first row, the first cell is spanned over 2 columns, that is two columns are merged together to create this particular header value, that is name. Then after that two columns merged into one, and which contains the data value name. Then after that, the third column contains course. It's also a header value, and fourth column is also a header value which contains the data value year. So this is the header of the corresponding table. That TR is closed, that table row is closed. So it will create a table header like this: name, course, year. Then another row is created. Second row is created with data value TD AB/TD. AB is the data value. Then after that, second cell Morgan. That's it, value. Another TD is there. That is for the third column. TD row span is equal to 2. So here, this particular column is spanned over 2 rows. So the 2 rows are merged together into third column, and it will contain a value fishy. Then the fourth row, it contains a value 5, and the second row is closed. Then after that, third row is initiated by using the tag TR. Then TD, first cell contains value DJ, second cell contains the value Johns, third cell is a merged cell. So the next TD lead to fourth cell of the third row, which contains value A. TR is closed and table is closed. So it will create a table like this. Here the column is spanned. The first cell is spanned over 2 columns, and here this 2 rows are spanned, or it will be merged to a single cell. So col span and row span attributes are used for merging column as well as rows. The table in HTML also contains attributes like align and width. The align attribute determines the position of the text within a cell. So if you want to mention which part of the cell the text to be aligned, that can be mentioned using the align attribute. The width attribute determines the width of the row relative to the table. Here we have an example. Table border is equal to 1, align is equal to center. So it means that a table is created with border value 1, and the table is aligned to the center of the corresponding width page. Then a TR is initiated. TH, col span is equal to 2, width is equal to 60% name/TH. So a table, the first cell is a header value which is spanned over 2 columns. The width of that particular column is 60% of the total width of the table. So 60% of the table belongs to this particular column, and it contains a value called name. The second cell contains TH, row span is equal to 2. So the second cell is spanned over 2 rows and which contains a data value course. The third cell, actually it is the fourth one because the first one is spanned over 2 columns. So the fourth cell, its row span is equal to 2. So it is spanned over 2 rows and which contains a data value year. That particular row is closed. So the header will be like this: name, which is spanned over 2 columns, then course, which is spanned over 2 rows, year, which is spanned over 2 rows. So again the second row is initiated, second row which contains again a header value last, then second cell contains initials, third cell as well as fourth cell is spanned with previous rows header values, that is course and year. So in this particular row we are having only 2 values because the remaining 2 cells are already spanned with previous row. Then another TR is started. So another table row is started which contains a Morgan, AB, fishing, and here a TD align is equal to center 5. which indicates that the file is displayed on the center portion of the particular column. So these are some of the table attributes. We already discussed about align with border. Align means the alignment related to the page width. It will be specified in pixels or percentage of page width. Border, it specifies the width of the border. Cell spacing means actually it is a spacing in between the cells. Cell padding means it is a spacing in between the cell border towards the text. BG color means it's a background color of the table. And if you want to provide any title to the table, we can use the caption tag. And this is an example for the table which is using most of the attributes. Table border is equal to 3, align is equal to center, cell spacing is equal to 6, cell padding is equal to 6, BG color is equal to cyan. So your table is created with border thickness 3, alignment of the table is towards the center of the web page. Cell spacing, that is the spacing between two cells is 6 pixels and the spacing between cell border towards the text is 6 pixels and the background color of the table is cyan. Then caption tag is opened. Inside the caption tag we are having an h2 header with data value course data, that will be the title of the corresponding table. Then the corresponding tr tag is opened. Then the 3 headers, name, course, year, that will be the header in the first row, and likewise the column will be created. The rest of the cells will be filled with the data. Hope you understood how to create tables in HTML. Now we can see how to create frames in HTML. Frames are techniques which is used to include, the purpose of frames is to include multiple web page view in a single web page. A frameset partitions a web browser window so that multiple web documents can be displayed simultaneously. Example application: to maintain a permanently visible directory of links within your site while also displaying one or more selected documents from the site. So what the frameset as well as frames do is, it divides the web page or the browser window into multiple sessions where each session can hold a particular web page. So the frameset element replaces the body element. So we know that while we are creating an HTML page, the tags we needed is HTML tag, then comes head tag, then after that body tag is needed. If you are going to create the web page into frames, instead of body element, we can replace that body element with frameset. Frameset has attributes columns and rows defined in terms of pixels, percentage or unspecified. This splits the window into 2 or more rows or columns. So here there is an example. Inside this example you can see there is an HTML tag. After that a head tag is there which contains a title tag. Then instead of body we are using a frameset tag. Frameset calls is equal to 140, star. This means that we are going to create a frame set inside the web page. The idea is that this web page is divided into 2 columns. The first column is having 140 pixels and the second column will contain the rest of the pixels. So a web page is split vertically into 2 parts. One contains 140 pixels and the rest of the pixels are in the second column. Now you can add frames. Frame name is equal to nav f. Nav means navigation frame, which contains a source file navigation.html. Then another frame named main.f, which contains a source file intro.html. So what happens here it is, by using the frameset tag, the web page is divided into 2 columns. For including a For including a HTML page in the first frame, we are using this frame tag. By specifying the source attribute, we can include an HTML page in the first column. Likewise, using the same frame tag, we can include another HTML page into the second frame. The first frame is named as navigation frame and second frame is named as main frame. The frame set is closed as well as HTML tag is closed. Here the calls is equal to 140, star. So calls, we can split up the web page row wise as well as we can split up it into column wise. This rows as well as columns can be defined in terms of pixels or in terms of percentage, or it can be unspecified like star. If one value is specified, we can specify the rest with star. Now we can see the frame attributes. The name attribute uniquely identifies the frame. It may be used as a target in an anchor element. While we are seeing the example, we saw that frame includes an attribute called name, which is used as for naming purposes. In order to give an identity for a frame, we are using the name tag. So that using this name, another anchor hyperlinks can be mentioned. The target of anchors can be mentioned. The source attribute specifies the web page to be placed in the frame initially. Another attribute called scrolling attribute. Scrolling attribute is also specified in the frame tag. The scrolling attribute can take values auto, yes, no. It specifies whether the frame is to have scroll bars. If you are specifying scrolling is equal to yes, a scroll bar is also viewed along with the corresponding frame. Then we can also specify another attribute called frame border. This attribute is used for specifying whether the frame is to have a border. It can take values 0 or 1. If you mention it as 0, no border will appear. If you specify it as 1, the border of the frame is visible. This is an example page, navigation.html. See, if you are looking at the car, we can see that HTML tag is there, head tag is there, title tag is there. Then after that a body tag is there. Inside the body tag, a center tag is there, which is used to make the alignment of the text, the coming text in the center of the corresponding web page, which contains a anchors tag, 1, 2, 3, around 7 anchor tags are specified. HTML rows, paragraphs, headings, unordered list, ordered list, nested list, home. All these tags are, links are specified using a tag, and there will be a target page for a target location for all these anchors. The target location mentioned for all these anchors is main frame. Then the center tag is closed, body tag is closed. The anchor tag has a target attribute. It takes the name of the frame used to display the information. In this anchor tag, the target is mentioned by the frame name. That is why the relevance of giving name to a frame. Then only we can specify where the corresponding web page should appear. Intro.html is another web page, a simple document which is initially placed in main frame. This is replaced when a user clicks on the link in the navigation frame. So it just contains some text values. Welcome to HTML course. Please select the course of etc. etc. Nested framesets are also there. Here you can see that an HTML tag is there, head tag is there, then head tag is closed. Frame set calls is equal to 140 star. So a web page is divided into two columns. Then after that, frame name is equal to navigation frame. Source is equal to navigation.html. So the first frame is named as navigation frame and it contains navigation.html. That is the first column in the browser. HTML codes, paragraphs, these anchors, all these anchors are displayed in the navigation.html. Then after that, instead of using frame tag, a frame set tag is used. So frame set tag is used for splitting. Frame set rows is equal to 30%, 70%, which means that we already mentioned that a frame set columns is equal to 140 comma star, and after that the frame tag is also there. So we already split the window into two columns. First column is having the navigation.html. So again frame set tag is there, which means and with an attribute rows is equal to 30% comma 70%. So the second column is split up row wise with 30% on the upper frame and 70% on the lower frame. So the second part or second column of the web page is again split up row wise. The first section contains 30% of the HTML web page space and rest contains 70% of the corresponding column. So we can also space frames towards these two row-wise sections. So frame name is equal to upper frame source intro.html. So this contains the intro.html text. Frame name is equal to lower f, source is equal to course.html. So the lower frame contains course.html web page. So likewise we can nested frames. The first frame set is closed, second frame set is closed and HTML is closed. So we can split up a web page into multiple frames using the tags frame set and frame. So another tag related to frames is Noframes. Some of the browsers do not support the frame tag. So alternate content should be provided using the Noframes element. Here we are having a frame set, course is equal to 140 comma star, and two frames are defined with sources navigation.html and intro.html, and the frame set is closed. If our browser didn't support this frame set, what happens is we need another message, or we need a message or alternative message regarding the frames. For specifying the alternative message, we are having a tag called Noframes. Noframes tag is started, then we start a body, then it contains something here for browsers not supporting a text value is there, body is closed, Noframes is closed, HTML is closed. So what happens here it is, if we are executing this particular HTML page, if our browser did not support the frame tag or frame set tag, what happens is the no frame tag will work. No frame tag will work means the body of the web page should contain the text mentioned here. Which supports the frame tag, the first portion will work up to this frame set will work. Otherwise, the text in the body part will appear. So this is the usage of Noframes tags. Hope you understood how to create frames in HTML and how to create tables in HTML. Wishing you all success. Thank you.